Hey everybody, Jay Dow here. Thanks for watching my channel. Please click to subscribe. We're talking about affordability in this episode. It's the top issue here in New York City, and it's also a big topic of conversation elsewhere across the country, especially as we go through this government shutdown. You know, I spent the day at the New York Common Food Pantry. I saw so many people who were standing online in the rain waiting to just get a basket full of food to take back home to try to feed their families. So, Miss Nakia Neely, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We met at the Common Pantry while you were picking up some food for your family. And,
Yeah,
I was listening to you describe how many steps you needed to go through in order to make sure you had enough food for your family. So the common pantry wasn't your only stop or isn't going to be your only stop to try to make sure you have enough for the week. Is that the case?
yes, that's the case. I wanted to make sure that I had a good supply of food so that my son and I, can have food to eat. I've just exhausted my last issuance of SNAP benefits, for the month of October. So, I needed to have, I needed to have more, food, a good supply of food, and I wanted to make sure that my son and I would have food to eat, and I wanted, just to make sure that we're good. When we met each other, actually, I was, out there looking for, some food because right now there's nothing. I'm holding a benefit card with no food. Well, I will be holding a benefit card in November with no food stamps. So I'm gonna have to continue this until something happens, until this decision is finalized with the lawmakers. And in between that, I'm borrowing money. I'm asking, whatever I can. My son and I will have to eat. There's friends, there's neighbors. I feel that there should be a plan of action that, something has to be there because this is the safety net. Where's the safety net after the safety net? This is an emergency in itself. The fact that a lot of people, millions of people will be without food because of this ongoing, um, halt or decision. Is this a decision, final decision, or is this going to be continuous? They're talking about it, but if these laws come down and this should happen, what is going to be the plan B if the plan A was the safety net? At the end of the day, every child, I'm willing to give up my food, my plate for my son. I'd rather see him eat than myself. I'm praying that lawmakers will come together, Democrats, Republicans, and that they will be human and realize that there's a serious need out there, from children, parents. There's a serious need. People need to eat. Food is something that's essential. So I pray that they can get things together.
And we hope that, in the long term, everything does work out, especially for you and your family.
Yes,
We wish you nothing but the
yes.
best of luck.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
All right. I was fortunate enough to spend some time inside the food pantry watching volunteers packing up food so it could be handed out to families in need. I also sat down for a great conversation with the Deputy Executive Director of the Common Food Pantry to get some insight on exactly what it takes to feed so many people so often. Judy Seacon, you are Deputy Executive Director of the New York Common Food Pantry. I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I was out there at the pantry. It was pouring rain. I saw people lined up around the corner. We know the need is intense, and that's before any November 1st deadline where SNAP funding is going to run out. Talk to us about the need that you're seeing right now and what your concerns are if this funding does dry up.
So we have been seeing um, increased need for the past, I would say it's been ramping up, but for the past 2 weeks, it's gotten more intense. This week we've seen more numbers than we've ever seen before come to our doors. So we are anticipating that this will only keep growing. We know that there's been a lot of noise and a lot of press about what is going to be happening. So people are starting to already feel anxious and concerned. But human nature, the way it is, means that people probably also are hopeful it's going to be solved before they need to come to our doors.
We heard someone say at the news conference at the podium, they said, you know what, there's no pride in standing in line for food. Obviously, if people are showing up to the common pantry, it's because they have to, not because they want to. Have you been in touch with other pantries in this area and across the country to find out what the climate is like and what the need is?
Yeah, we work very closely with a number of pantries in the area. We work closely with the United Way, Food Bank of New York, City Harvest, which are all aggregator organizations and help support us. Yes, we all are hearing the same things from our participants, that the anxiety around losing SNAP is very high. You know, people use pantries as a supplement. We provide 15 meals as a supplement, so it doesn't meet your full complement of your food needs for every 2 weeks. People can come every 2 weeks, but it is necessary because SNAP doesn't give you enough to get through the week alone, get through the month alone. Your wages supplement, but as we know, wages in New York City are insufficient to meet the high costs of living here. So between rent, between medical costs and food costs, you know, people need places like pantries in order to keep their families fed, keep the elderly fed, keep their children fed. So people are feeling a lot of anxiety and pressure. We have participants who are coming to sign up who've never signed up for the pantry before because they're uncertain how they're going to meet their food needs when if SNAP stops on Saturday. That's a lot of S's in a row. But there's a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. There has been, since the One Big Beautiful Bill made so many cuts to SNAP, those have not taken effect yet, but people are anxious. I have already been anxious about what's going to happen. The able-bodied adults without dependents requirements, which were supposed to take effect January 1, will now take effect November 1 as well. So that puts another stress on people who were able to get SNAP without meeting those work requirements. And the work requirements have been changed so that if you have a child over 14, you're required to go to work. I think previously it was over 18. And also it was up to age 54, and now it's up to age 64. So many more people will, and it's not necessarily that they haven't been working, it's that they haven't had to prove that they've been working. So now they have to prove that they've been working. They have to file more paperwork. They have to meet more requirements.
How
So
large
all
is,
of that, sorry.
I was going to ask, how large is your membership? Because clearly you've been tracking the people who are visiting the pantry.
Yes, so we see in our, I'm going to pull up my numbers so I can know what I'm quoting. So for the first quarter of this fiscal year, which for us is July through September, we've seen almost 63,000 individuals throughout all of our programs. That is what we call an unduplicated count. So that's a membership number. We will end the year with we ended last year about 110,000 people who are individuals. Our visitor count, so that's an individual who will come multiple times, so they'll come every 2 weeks to pick up pantry, or they'll come for a hot meal, was over 764,000 people.
And that's over what time period?
That was last fiscal year.
And the fiscal year runs
from July through June. We are already seeing 10% increases when we compare last quarter to this quarter. So we're already seeing a 10% increase in that number.
Those are big numbers.
Yes, they're very big numbers. We've given out last fiscal year, we gave out 11.7 million meals in all of our programs. We move about over 10 million pounds of food throughout our system. This year we're tracking and we are on pace, and this was before, we've really seen the effects of a SNAP shutdown. We're on pace to do about 12.2 million meals. That's just because of what happened in the first quarter.
Is there any pressure on your supply chain?
The pressure is on our funding, and if we have the funds to continue to purchase the food. We're not seeing the same thing that we saw at COVID when food actually was unavailable. You know, the times we couldn't get pasta, we couldn't get rice, there was real breaks in the supply chain. I haven't seen that yet. But you know, our funding is really under a great deal of pressure because it's already been
It's
cut.
an affordability crisis on your end.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, knowing how much pressure you're on right now, knowing how many people you're serving right now, I mean, you're keeping, it would be good to keep track of what you saw in the week before, potential snap cuts, and let's circle back. So how many people did you see in the days before?
So far this week, in our Manhattan pantry, we have seen about 900 families, which our average family count is 3. So that equates to about 2,700 people, if I could do my math very quickly. And that's in 2 days. So it's only been Wednesday and Thursday that we served so far this week. So
That's over 2 days.
It's over 2 days. And that's in one pantry. We also have a Bronx pantry. I don't have our numbers from yesterday. We are open every day. So people can come in Monday through Sunday, actually, and sign up. So we are always here. And if you sign up, you get an emergency bag of food. So we always will give somebody food when they come to our doors. And then they become part of the regular 2-week cycle. They can come every 2 weeks. We have a choice model, which means that people can come in and use a tablet and make a choice about what they get. So it's grains, it's fresh fruits and vegetables, it's canned fruits and vegetables, proteins, dairy. We are actually temporarily going to suspend that choice model in order to be able to serve people more quickly because of the lines that we're seeing, and we don't want to have people waiting too long on the lines. So we will be suspending that and doing just a pre-packed bag that represents the food groups. But people should come. I mean, we're still here. I know the emergency food sector has been through a lot. People are all ready to serve and, you know, working as hard as we can to make sure both, you know, in the advocacy arena to help get state and city funding to fill the gaps, but also, you know, we're also working to make sure that people get the food that they need. It is Thanksgiving. We all start our Thanksgiving and our turkey distributions and everything. And, you know, we know this is really a heightened time of food distribution. So we've already have ramped up our services, but we will, you know, we've never turned anybody away, and we're not going to turn anybody away, and we'll figure out how we can get through the crisis. But we are, you know, partners with the people that we serve.
When I was inside the pantry, I saw all the volunteers, you know, working. It was like a well-oiled machine. We appreciate all the good work that New York Common Pantry does in the Bronx and in the city, serving anyone who comes to your door. It's hard work, and we're grateful that you're doing it. And let's see what happens. Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you. Of course. I mean, the more people that can shine a light on this issue, it's really important. I think hunger is sort of the hidden problem. People don't want to, again, admit that they have a problem, that they need food. There's a lot of stigma. So we are really grateful when the media, when politicians all recognize this and really make this understand what this issue is about. Yeah, you mentioned our volunteers. We couldn't do what we do without our volunteer support either. We couldn't move this amount of food if we didn't have volunteers every day who are dedicated to the work that we do. And of course, our staff is incredibly dedicated to the work that we do.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching, everyone. Please click to subscribe. This channel is going to be about real conversations with real people about topics that you care about. I'll see you soon.